All right. Do, 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 do.
Well, I'm just going to mute for a little bit. We have 2 more minutes before we start. And so those of you who are rolling in, we'll be starting at about 1 minute after the hour to give everyone a time to get settled. So thank you. If you have your hard hat and your miner's lamp on, you should probably put it on because I think that's the thing for tonight. We have a special guest with us tonight who has a neat surprise for us.
All right, we've got all kinds of people coming in. This is fantastic. I will say, Jenny, I think the hat just fits you.
Yeah, especially off to the side like that, because it won't sit straight. It just falls right down on my glasses. Some people can do cool really well, not me.
Okay, so we're just about there, everybody. Well, welcome to Wednesday, right? Yes, welcome to Wednesday.
It is
Hope you guys are all
Wednesday.
having a good time, and thank you for taking the time out of your afternoons or evenings. First, let me do introductions. If I haven't met you, I'd like to meet you at some point. My name is Eric McHenry, club president. I live in Santa Rosa, California with my lovely wife. She's off with the trailer doing final packing. We're heading off to a club rally tomorrow out at the coast in Bodega Bay. And I was bemoaning the fact that it's going to be cold. It's going to be like 57 degrees out there. So, you know, I'm just California freezing. So.
Sorry, I'm gonna give him the violin. I'm in Ohio. It was 29 degrees this morning when I was pumping my gas. So,
and then I think hopefully y'all know Lori Tilton, our executive director.
hello.
Lori.
Good evening.
And you are in at your house. Is that your field behind you, or
that is my
office?
hay field behind me. That's 20 acres of hay. So yes, I am at the house.
Nice.
The sky does not look like that today. I wish it did, but that's okay.
And then one of my best friends, Jenny Stetler, she's on the executive council down there in the hard hat, and you hopefully seen her or met her before. Jenny's going to come on screen, well, do a little walkthrough with you in a little bit of our new building. So thank you. So
Great to see you tonight.
And you're obviously in Jackson Center, I guess, right now.
Yes. My home away from home.
I know. Thank you. So for these campfire chats, I wanted to just take you all back to why we're doing these and when we started them. They actually started a little over 3 years ago, probably. Lori and I were in Freiburg, Maine at the International Rally. And me being a past employee of Hewlett Packard in the Bay Area, there was an expression that we used to use called coffee talks. And it was when the management sat down with all hands and just talked about what's going on. And it is really a phenomenal opportunity to learn from and communicate with our members. And I guess one of the only benefits, I would say, of the pandemic has been that we're all very Zoom friendly. And this is a format that works now very well. And in fact, we're starting to see a number of other regions start to do it as well, which is fantastic. We have a lot of cool stuff going on. But more importantly for you all, if you have questions, I've been very clear that if you have any question, ask it. And Lori and I and Jenny will do our best to answer it. If there's a confidentiality issue, we'll let you know. If we don't know the answer, we'll get back to you. We keep track of all of the questions being asked, and they're asked via the Q&A button, which is one of your buttons at the bottom of your screen. And we're monitoring this, and we'll kind of accumulate them and get the answers to all of them. So, but fundamentally, this is for you guys to ask questions. We're going to kick off with a little bit of a presentation just to kind of kick off the afternoon. So here's going to be just kind of our backdrop agenda. Lori's going to talk about our membership status, our discounts and benefits. We'll talk about how our club is doing. It's incredibly important these days in the area where a lot of clubs like ours are having some challenges. And then we're going to talk a little bit about 707 West Pike. Now, West Pike is East Pike, right? East Pike.
East Pike, yeah.
I'm thinking, where is West Pike?
Sorry.
Anyway, in Jackson Center. And as many of you have probably heard, we acquired a building about a year ago, an adjacent building, to address the issues of space and just infrastructure issues at our old building that we had for 30 plus years. And thanks to Jenny and a whole bunch of our volunteers, Lori's team is going to be moving in shortly. Jenny will talk to you about that. And then Jenny and I will talk about how we're going to be using our historical building, which is 803 East Pike, which is right next door. And it will be, as you've probably heard, turned into a membership clubhouse. And then we will be offering, we already started offering courtesy parking in Jackson Center. And the thing I'm most excited about is that we're about ready to launch fundraising for a nonprofit historical center. Now, I'll say it twice. So I'll say it once now, is that Airstream, the factory, has a wonderful heritage center that's in Jackson Center next to the factory. They, though, are focused on the history of Airstreams, which is incredibly important. We, though, are interested also in the history of our club. Our club goes back, 70 years starting this upcoming year. And we have this rich history of our members, of our units, of our clubs, of our events. And right now that stuff is stacked away in boxes and in cabinets or in people's places all over the country, and we're in danger of losing it. So we were looking for having a way to talk about our history. And then we'll give an update on Harvest Host and the international rallies. So Lori, off to you. How are we doing in the club side?
Thanks, Eric. We are doing fantastic, actually, in the club side. So right now, as of this morning, we had 9,000, I'm sorry, I can't see my screen, 9,948 members. This is November, so I am guesstimating we're going to crest that 10,000 mark by the end of the year, which is super exciting. We've hit a 25-year high. The last time we had over 9,700 members was 1999. So I feel real confident that we're going to continue this wave. I feel we're unique from other clubs. I know some others are struggling, but I think we are different because it's more about the community. These beautiful Airstreams bring us together, but then it's the community that keeps us rolling and keep people connected. So that's super important. Along with our just general growth, our next slide, if you want to show our joins, if you guys can see this chart, it's steady, it's consistent, it's just fantastic that we're reaching more and more people out there in the Airstream community to join our club. So all of that has just been great. I feel really.
So Lori, I'm always just amazed by these numbers, by your staff. So we seriously get upwards of 300 members a month coming into our club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
incredible.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to say time consuming. I don't want to sound that way, but sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to get everything that a new member wants. Big red numbers are a huge deal, and we will spend the time to get take care of that new member. So it is a little bit of time consuming. There's a lot of pieces and parts that come together to make those new member packets, as well as getting them in the system and all that fun stuff. So as you can see, back in July, we did crest at 325 for that month. So that's a little higher than usual. So those of us here in the North, as we know, kind of October, November, we slow down just a scooch, but it's not as slow as you think it is. So yeah, we got a lot of great people coming into the club.
All right, no questions yet. So, okay.
Yeah, so here's a reminder, we do have these tangible discounts and benefits out there. So of course go to airstreamclub.org. There's a section once you're logged in. I've heard a lot of good things about our tire program. Of course, our members love the solar stoves, Harvest Host, the KOAs, and insurance and things of that nature. So please, take the time if you're not familiar with any of these benefits, take a look. We're sure there's something out there for you, and we're continually working on and trying to curate additional members and member benefits for us. So hopefully we can add to this list very soon.
And if any of you have ideas, let us know. As you may end up reading in the latest Blue Beret, our partnership with Harvest Hosts actually came from two members that had a really cool idea about how to grow that partnership. And it took us a year to get it in place, working hard with Harvest Host, but we did it. So you have great ideas, let us know what they are. Some of you may have connections into certain industries or certain companies. Let us know. And I say us by Lori's team will take it forward, or someone in the exec council will help out to make it happen. But just give us an intro and we'll see what we can do with it.
Absolutely. Okay, folks, you need to ask questions. That's what we're here for you tonight. So don't forget that. The Q&A down there. Do I have any other slides?
No, you don't.
No, I don't. Oh, look, here we go. Eric, why don't you have a travel map of Canada on your door? Oh, you get them, David.
Well, I
Well,
think that I don't know the answer to that question.
fantastic.
All right. So Lori knows I'm very rarely caught off guard and can't answer a question. David, you got me on that one. No
That's
excuse.
awesome. Thanks, David.
But I do fly the Canadian flag though. That I do fly. I corrected that last year, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So,
the simple answer is only because we bought something off of Amazon.com and it was the continental United States, and actually that's not true. It had Hawaii in it as well. That's a simple answer. We're just lazy. So, alrighty.
so I see Rich Collins jumping in there. Rich and his amazing wife, Cindy, are our amazing exhibitor chairs for our international rally. They do so much work for us. And I can say the registrations for York are going fantastic. As of today, we're about 630, 625, 630, which is about 60% of the power sites that we have, a little over 1,000 there. And so we're going to be releasing some information about boondocking because we're confident we're going to be selling out here very quickly. Are all these benefits accessible or to Canadian members? Yes, they are. I do know that we are working with Michelin on the tires for our members in Canada. And that is because I guess it's a different network, but we are still working with them. We have been trying to make that happen, and we will continue to work on that. When is the 25 rally and where in PA? It's in York, Pennsylvania, and it is August. You would think I'd have this memorized by now. It starts August 20 something. Hang on, let me get my calendar back out. August 23rd. I knew it was there. All right. Eric, do you want to keep going with questions?
Yeah, why not? Okay, so David asked the questions, how much money does a club make in profit from the October rally? Historically, we've always made a profit, which is great news. And a little background first. And so like anything, when you budget for a project, be it in the public service or the private sector, you put in a bit of a buffer in just in case overages. Hopefully you never have to use the overages. So normally we make money because the rallies have been well managed. We haven't had any unexpected expenses. And so typically our international rally profit has been from 100,000 up to mid 200,000. And we haven't got the final numbers yet, but I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be in the mid to high twos, high 200s. We'll be presenting that to the board in December with the final numbers. We haven't gotten all the bills in yet. Hope that answers
So,
that question. Oh, and by the way, and the next question should be, well, that's nice, but what about the money? Well, historically, our club has always used the profit from an international rally to go to basic club stuff. We made a change last year with our financial controls of saying that we now have 3 mandated reserve buckets. And the reserves are for operational reserves, for technology reserves, and for infrastructure reserves. And so anything we get profit off an IR will go into those reserves. So we're going to be filling up our reserves, refilling our reserves with net profits coming from the past the IR in Sedalia. It's actually a really good thing.
yeah, absolutely. Hi, Doug. I see Doug says he's a new member. He felt the love right away. Yay. You got your new member packet. Glad to hear those big red numbers are on your Bambi. That's fantastic to hear. Ron is asked about FCIS served Canadian members. Yes, they do. I know Courtney, which is the owner of SCIS. If he doesn't himself, he definitely has connections and other folks, agents that work in that area. All right, my glass.
Okay, there's a question from Dietz about can you share in what the cost international rally was? So rent of the fairgrounds, we don't typically share that information, that level of detail. But if there's a specific reason you want to forward, let us know. We have our financial report to the board in December, and part of that financial report will be the international rally. And any specific questions you want to ask, just ask then. But Lori, do you remember exactly? So the registration cost, it averaged out to be around $900, I think, if there was 2 people. Is that correct?
It was around 700.
700. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Do we want to, Craig, you're talking about planned campground for Jackson Center. We're going to be going into that in a few minutes.
We'll talk about that later. Yes, definitely. Oh, thanks for the questions, everyone.
Yeah, I love this. It's what we're here for. Sue says, what's the best way to find out about events to improve chances of getting a spot? My recommendation is to go to airstreamclub.org, make sure you log in as a member, and then access our events. We ask all of our clubs, local clubs, interclubs, everybody associated with us, they post their events there, and that is the most up-to-date place. And we normally have 700 to 800 events a year across the country. So being a club member, you're welcome to any event that is being hosted by one of our clubs or interclubs. Of course, I understand there's limitations on spacing and things of that nature, but overall, that's the best way to find out how to get there.
And I'm going to add something. So, Sue, it also depends where you live in the country, right? In some areas of the country, the rallies do not fill up. Typically, those in areas where the campgrounds are larger. Where Laverne and I live on the West Coast, it is very, very common for a rally to fill up within days. And it's simply because the campgrounds just aren't that big out here, and we have a lot of demand. And so what I recommend, if you're in an area that you see the rallies filling up quickly, probably the other resource you should do is make sure that you get the newsletters from the local clubs, because although they post it online, which is fantastic, a lot of clubs will say, hey, by the way, members of the club, so you have to be an affiliate or a regular member of the club. We have, for example, I'll pick one. We have Coyote Lake opening up in a week. And sure enough, it filled up in about a day, right? And so it's really important, particularly if you're new, to look at the ones you want to go to and watch those newsletters to find out when you can rally. You can register because often they'll go by fast. And the challenge, I understand, and it's a true one, is for people who are newer into the club because you're not really as keyed into which ones are going to fill up so fast. A lot of the old timers end up getting in there because they're right on the button, hitting the button to say reserve. You really have to do that in the areas where there's a high demand. And again, and unfortunately, there are some areas of the country where there's a very, very high demand, which is higher than the availability of RV parks. But yeah, so nothing wrong with being a member at large, but if you are camping in one area a lot, it might benefit you to also become either an affiliate of that local club, so you get their newsletter, or become a member of that club.
All right, so DJ, you're asking if the Goodyear tire discount is on tow vehicle. It's on tires. It doesn't matter if it's tow vehicle, it doesn't matter if it's trailer, it doesn't matter if it's on your tractor. It you can get whatever you want on the tires. Yes, there is a discount for Airstream Supply. If you go to, again, our website, there's a code that you can use and you get 10% off of what they call the Airstream Love Collection, which is a rather just a group of stuff that we are able to get discounts on. As which you probably know, some things we can't just because of their profit margins.
Retention.
We average about 85% every year is what we average, and it seems like the main reason why people leave the club is that they're aging out or sold their Airstream. That is the primary reason.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I've thought a lot about this. I know Lori and the exec council IBT has also, about why our retention is so high. And another look at the data suggests that if a person has been in the club for more than 3 years, they usually stay. Unless medical reasons or tow vehicle reasons or financial reasons, they pretty much stay. And I think it's because they found a community in the club. And to leave the club means the people they've hung out with for 3 years, they aren't available anymore. The people the 0 to 3 years, often the club wasn't what they were looking for. They never really found a place. They didn't go to any rallies. And as we've talked about over and over again, we think the most important thing for a new member is to get out to an event. Some clubs, and we're trying to encourage this, are already doing what we call newbie rallies. My wife and I just went to one out here in the Bay Area where it was for people who have had their Airstreams, for less than about a year or so. A lot of them, it was their first time ever out camping with the club, and it let them understand sort of what the club was about. I think it was very helpful to them. But I think had they not done that, they may or may not have stayed in the club. So I think really get out there, go to an event. If there's a newbie rally, definitely try to go to that. Often there's seminars around things that, it's just nice to talk to other people about that have an experience. Like, why does my Aldi need fluid every 6 months, and how do I fill it, and how do I change a tire, and how do I this, how do I that? Okay.
I'll hit this last one, then do we want to move on to next stuff? So Silver Sled, which I'd love to know your name. So the best lessons learned from the last international rally, I can tell you, the rally team, which is under my direction, the planning team is an amazing team. I cannot tell you how much time this team of volunteers spends. So I would say tours are not as popular as they used to be. People want to not leave the grounds. They want to be on the grounds more. And I think that is amazing because the signal to us is that they want to be in the seminars, exhibitor space, and they want to be with their friends. So to me, that's a compliment to everybody in this club. And the structure of making the rally more about the members, getting rid of the party and the business meetings has really made a great thing for the rally. And any of those that go to the rally, we always remember or always share and ask that you fill out that exit survey, because we go through every single one of them to make sure we learn and listen. So
Okay, we'll take this last question Craig had. He says, I bought an Airstream on April 23rd. Do I get a paid membership? So it depends. Craig, if you bought it new from a dealer, then yes, you're eligible for a free one-year membership.
You have to redeem that within 6 months, Craig. So I would suggest getting on our website and to make that happen.
If it was a used Airstream, then no. However, there are some select dealers around the country, maybe a handful, that provide free memberships for used Airstreams purchased at their facility. But that's not that common. All right, we're gonna just go to the next topic, and Pitting, will we see your question, and we'll leave it up there for now. All right, so let's go to 707 East Pike, renovation, move in, and some stuff about the campus down there. All right. So first, we have a special guest, and that's Jenny Stetler with the hard hat. And Jenny's going to give us a sneak peek at the new place.
Welcome. And this has been my home away from home for the last 6 months. I've only had about 4 days a month at my actual house. So tonight, we are about a week away from letting our team move in. That's how close we are to being finished. I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to start to give you a tour. This is the front vestibule. Here's the front door. This obviously was a bank building beforehand. I think I might have shared that with a bunch of you, but we turned this into a little bit of a solarium. Now we're going to enter the front reception area. What's exciting about this, besides the new look, is what's going to happen. Down here on the bottom portion of these walls, this aluminum donated by Airstream Inc. is all going to be put, it's all riveted. It's all going to be put in the lower wainscoting of this room here. I'm going to zoom around and show it to you. Here at our front desk, they're crafting a custom-made piece of a rear end of an Airstream with lights, hopefully a cool license plate. This was a fun wallpaper print that I loved in another bathroom we have, and I copied the fabric for the leather sofas and chairs. Very fun, very young. There's going to be a hospitality area right here with coffee, and once a week the team will be making cookies. Little seating area. This will be where our merchandise and all of our literature is. We're going to walk through into the receptionist area. This is where Jen Thomas will be seated. She'll take your orders, she'll take your phone calls, anything you need to do is going to happen right here. It's kind of a great space for her. We cut walls down, we added rooms, we made new rooms. This is a 24-foot long wall that our wonderful team of Joe Poplinski, David Gully, and Samantha Martin are going to be creating our 100-year timeline of the history of our club. Lori wanted a restroom for their staff, which said, "not industrial." So we put a real pretty, soft look into this restroom for them. This back hall here leads into their brand new kitchen. Currently, I don't know if you're aware, they eat their lunch in their car. There's nowhere for them to eat in the present building. So we gave them a kitchen, and we gave them a stove with the proviso that cookies have to get made once a week. Heading over here, this will be Corey Maxwell's office. He's our editor for the Blue Beret. More of a studio than an office. Our brand new employee, Sherry McCabe, this is her office. She is the new marketing director. She has plenty of great workspace to get her job done. And you're seeing this at night. It's dark here because I'm in Eastern time zone, but this gets a lot of new light. So one thing that's exciting about this, if you look straight ahead, you'll see that window. There were never windows here. We cut them in. Thanks to Gary Russo's insistence, we put them in now. This is an overflow office. This is the workroom. This is the best part of the whole building. This was created from 3 separate rooms. This is where your new member packets will be made up. All this shelving will accommodate all the materials and supplies, the copy machine, all the paper products, all the folders, the giant work tables, the big red numbers, the vinyl cutting, and all those small supplies that you'd like to order when you get all set up for your new membership. If you're an existing member, maybe you're going to get those 5-year stars. Pretty exciting. Another restroom. And this is a data room. This is a lockable room with its own separate air system for all of the data. This was Jim Cox, Dan Dice, and Jeff Dalrymple's baby. This is Amber's office. She's our membership chairperson. Well, not really chairperson. She's in charge of member services. This is a back hall. This hallway is running parallel to the reception room. And the whole reason this building works, which used to be 3 separate structures, is because we were able to cut a hole right through there and go into the bank, what was the bank building at that point. This is Amanda's office. She's our office manager. So she has a little bit of space so that when she has to say, Jenny, may I have a word? She can bring me into her office and talk about it. So now this is kind of like Disney World. We're entering the executive suite. Back in here, we finally have our own area for meetings and conferences and dealers to come in and vendors and sponsors to have meetings. This is a small kitchenette where we'll have snacks, treats for when we have visiting guests. Their restroom back here, of course, and a little area if they have to take a telephone call, perhaps have a moment that's quiet away from the conference. We're going to go right into the conference room right now. Again, we cut these holes apart in these walls, moved them to create these beautiful entryways and quiet areas. Now I'm in the conference room, which is absolutely huge. This was the whole lobby and teller area of the bank previously. And this wall right here that you'll see is blank, that's going to be a very large 98-inch smart TV so that we can have interactive video and meetings and presentations here in the conference room. Beautiful, stunning, kind of classy, elegant look. 8-foot glass whiteboard for meetings. Right now it says "We Rally." We messed around a little bit with magnet and decided to turn it into a wheel on the Airstream there. The table seats 22. Then over here, we have a rally room. Presently, the rally team is here, there, and everywhere in the other buildings. Stuff is stacked behind every corner, inside every cabinet is stuff. Things are overflowing. We finally have some dedicated space so that all the business of running the rally can happen efficiently and comfortably. They even have their own storage, locked storage room, which actually, okay, we'll be honest, it used to be the vault. If you look, you can see the vault. And Millie painted that. But they have cabinetry and room to stack all those totes that carry all the goodies that we have at our rallies. And our final room I'm going to show you back here is Lori's office. And I think this room just really speaks to the great job that Lori does and the need she has to really handle everything for our club comfortably with a lot of options for meetings in here, small group meetings. That's where her monitor will be. Maybe you remember seeing this painting that was done in Sedalia. It happens to fit perfectly on this wall. So here you are back in the front. We're going to go right into the front area that we just started from. This is a approximately 5,000 square foot building. We have only increased the actual space by about 25%, but we have 1,000% increased efficiency by the layout and by the opportunity to have dedicated spaces for each one of their needs. So there you are.
So Jeannie, a couple things I wanted just to touch on. So she's something really important. This is only 25% bigger than the prior building.
Correct.
But it is because of the layout that makes it work. The second thing is that most of the work, the vast majority of the work was done with Airstream Club volunteers. I think you brought in external contractors for what? The floor?
Well, there was only an external contractor really for one specific thing, and that was the flooring. Underneath this floor is concrete. It's built on a slab. I'm going to kind of flip back to the camera and show you. This building has had at least 4 separate additions put onto it over the years. And so the floors were uneven. They were concrete. So some of the quality of the concrete in the older areas was spalling. That means it was flaking away. So we had a company come in, level them all, and then re-smooth them all in preparation for the ability to then put the carpeting in. And so the flooring was the only, between the concrete re-leveling and the application of the carpeting. That was the only thing. Everything else has been done with volunteers, which is kind of astounding when you think about it. But then again, it isn't, because we are, as I have said all along, we're a club of doers. People are ripping their Airstreams apart day after day. So this is just a giant Airstream in our minds.
Thank you, JD. A couple questions for you. The question about the old HVAC system. Any concerns with that?
Well, it's interesting because they're independent systems in here. So right when we first the bank had their own half because the buildings were not continuous to each other. They were structurally on the outside continuous, but not on the inside. You couldn't get into one from the other. You had to go through the main entryway right here. So they had their own systems. The system in the bank building, right when we moved in, it was kind of, it just wasn't keeping up. It wasn't, it was struggling, you know, it was like barely breaking 80 degrees. So right away we said, okay, we got to get that fixed. We did have that fixed immediately, and it was nothing major. It was just a clean out. And I think it had a new coil or something. Nothing really.
Blower motor. Yeah,
Well,
blower
yeah.
motor. So
And then this one, they decided they'd inspect it at the same time. So now as winter's coming, we're having them come back and just make sure before we have everyone move in that because of all the drywall dust, because of all the construction, clean everything out really well on all the systems. And I'm not talking the filters, I'm talking actually getting in there and cleaning them out and making sure that they're running at peak performance. So excellent question.
All right, thanks, JD. I'm gonna go back to just gonna keep working through our agenda, but just phenomenal job. For those who were around two years ago, almost, when this property became available, had the vision for going forward with it, understood the club's needs, and you know, it was a bit of a struggle, to be fair. But I'm just really proud of the group, and it's just remarkable. And again, if you hadn't been in the existing building before, it's hard to compare. But the existing building was frankly embarrassing, and it was a horrible place to work. And our staff put up with it, and we finally got them a good place to work that'll be around for a lot longer. So. All righty, let me go back to the slide. And Jenny, thank you for making it happen, and the team too. Obviously, it would not have happened without all of y'all's work.
It's been a total pleasure, and I really thank everybody for trusting me to do it.
So we had three priorities. This slide is probably a year old, if not more. The first one was to get HQ headquarters moved into 707, and that's, as we said, is happening next week or the week after.
Next week.
Next week, so that's great, fantastic. The next thing is that we made a decision about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more, is that we'd build a historical center and member clubhouse, 803 East Pike. I'll talk about it a little bit more. We have a new plan now to put in 12 overnight parking spots, interior reconfiguration needed, and I'll show you how it's already online with the courtesy parking app. And it's going to be funded through either capital campaigns and or charitable contributions, but no use of annual membership dues. We still have it on our plan to do an RV park. We did the feasibility study for it, and the feasibility study was very, very positive. What they said, though, was go in phases. And they said it should be self-sustaining with costs and expenses. And that really drove us to say that makes sense. And that's why the first phase is only going to be 12 sites. So going into that, I apologize for this horrible rendering, by the way, but you'll get a sense of the property there. So on the right-hand side is 803 East Pike. That's the one that's been around for 30 years, our old headquarters building. And to the left, you'll see the new building, which Jenny just walked you through, 707 East Pike. And so headquarters will be over there shortly. So back to the right, we've always had three 30 amp connections on the back of 803 East Pike. It was hard to get access to those for a variety of reasons. It really wasn't easily accessible by our members. We made that decision to make it accessible for our members in an easy way. We've always had an existing sewer hole and water on that property. Our plan is to build out a little pet shelter, a dog park, and also
dog run, yeah, dog park, yeah,
up there also. And then kind of on the left side, the next phase would be to build in 6 30 amp sites in the space between the two buildings. And what was interesting about this is that the Vintage Airstream Club had a huge rally in the fall. And we had, how many Airstreams do we have parked there for about 4 nights? 3 nights.
42. Yeah, and it was the last weekend of May. And we had 42 vintage Airstreams, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
And it
So
was, yeah, it was actually Jim Cock one day said, hey, you know, you guys had those Airstreams there before. Why don't you consider, you know, starting a pilot study and a beginning thing to see if you really want to build out the full park? Why don't you start small with maybe a dozen sites, 6 here, 6 there?
yeah.
And we thought, ding, light bulb went off. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
So we think this will be a nice place. And one thing that I think that Lori can share some more on is that we actually get a lot of club member traffic through there. Lori, you shared some insights I thought was interesting last time we talked about this,
Yeah.
why people go there.
Yeah, so multiple reasons. Obviously, people come to Jackson Center to see or to get service done or visit the Heritage Center to Airstream Inc. But we always have a ton of traffic coming through. We've had clubs camp overnight, just boondock at the office. And if the terraport's full, they call and ask if they can stay, or they're coming in, maybe a day or two early before their service, and they want to camp someplace so they can go to the Heritage Center or the bike museum that's closed, Indian Lake, any of our tourist things around us. So what I always say, the crazy term is, build it, they will come. And I'm confident that we will continue to have people visit. So for those who have not been in Jackson Center, I encourage you to visit Jackson Center. And if you haven't been to Airstream Inc., to the Heritage Center and do the tour and to see how your Airstream's actually made, that is all things that we definitely encourage you to come to Jackson Center for.
And you can save some money now by just parking behind your club.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So the cool thing is that it's up on Harvest Host now. This is also one of our goals. And Laura, you want to chat about this? This just went live about a week ago, I think at best, right?
It did. Yes, it did. It was there. And actually we had some technical issues, but we got it up and running. So you can see when you log in that into your Harvest Host, we're listed there. You can check the availability and up to, you can book up to 5 nights. And what happens is once you log in, we get an email. We let you know that the availability or not. We have 3 sites, but we have 4 spaces. So if somebody wants to boondock, they're welcome. We've done that before, or as amazing as Airstreamers are, they figure out how to do it by sharing utilities for 4 rigs if that's what we have in there. So we're excited. It'll be kind of self-serving for the members, hopefully easier for them to get in and out. And then of course we have the dump station right there on premise. So as you leave, you can dump your rig. So there's more information on the Harvest Host. Then once you get your confirmation email, it gives you some tips on the parking, where the water is, where the power is, things of that nature. So we're excited.
Yeah. Thank you much. Okay, then just continue to look forward to what's happening next. And so I mentioned that this is 803 East Pike. And one thing interesting about our old building is that there are no interior load-bearing walls, which means that you can basically take everything out in the middle and the building stays up. And so we have complete flexibility on what we want to do in there. And this is the layout that we're thinking, is that on the left side, it'll be the member clubhouse. And as a traveler also, and I want to thank again Janie and others for having this insight. It's like, you kind of want to take a shower sometimes outside of your Airstream. You want to be able to do laundry. You want to have some office space. You want to just be able to sit and relax and work a little bit. So that's what this is all about. It's a place for our members to go. They can sit down, put their feet out, and just relax for a while. They can shower, do their laundry, all that stuff, right? And so that's going to be the left-hand side. And the right-hand side is where we're going to house a historical center. And the historical center will be split from a tax standpoint. The left side is part of our club, which is a 501c7. The right side will be a charitable organization, a 501c3. And so the big space will be a historical library and educational center. And then there's some rooms for archival and storage and an office for some of our civic and archives and stuff. And we're working with the historical committee, Joe Poplinski, David Gully, and others to try to, and with the Vintage Airstream Club to try to get this thing going. We're going to have to raise funds for the right-hand side, and there will be a fundraising campaign going. But first, we have to come up with a budget and stuff like that. But because we don't have to move any interior, we don't have to move any load-bearing walls inside, we think it should be relatively on the low side to make this happen. On the left-hand side, the electrical and water is already there, which is great. There's already 2 bathrooms and a utility sink on the left side, so we don't have to move utilities around, which saves us a lot of money as well. So really excited about this. We'll be talking about this in the next IBT and kicking this project off, which is the next phase. So good stuff.
Really
This
good
is just a
stuff.
draft statement of purpose. We're working with our club attorneys now, I am, and Lori, to come up with a statement of purpose. I'll let you all read this later, but basically it's focused on our club, not the Airstreams per se, but our club's history, the rich history we've had for 70 years. And by the way, our 70th year anniversary of our club is actually next year, 2025. So we're going to be trying to figure out something to do for 2025 also. Okay.
All right, so let's, if you don't mind, Eric, we
Questions?
can answer a couple more questions because I see some are down here
Sure.
about Harvest Host. So Jim, I see your note about the competition between clubs or regions at the rally. That sounds like something that could be very interesting. So I will definitely take that back to the rally planning team to see what we can come up
Yeah,
with
yeah,
there.
yeah. But okay, I think we have to weight it by distance. So because it's unfair in York, if you're out on the West Coast, to expect this
We'll
size similar.
see. I'll throw it to the team. We'll get something worked out.
We could
You
do
let
some
us bounce
weighting.
that around, right? Uh-huh.
Whatever.
Kathy, yes, on the food trucks. Let me tell you, food trucks. I don't know if any of you guys here are in the food truck business, but it is the flakiest business I've ever known. So we always ask for 9 to 10 trucks to be there, 7 to 7, 7 to 7, and it never happened. So I can tell you the rally team, Wayne Clark, I don't know if Wayne's on here, but God love him. He was actually calling additional trucks because they had trucks cancel and whatever. So we're calling additional ones on our way to York to get more trucks in there. And as for the healthy food options, absolutely, we always ask for it. But again, that whole industry is a little different.
Let me
About
answer David's question. I was going to type it, but I'm typing and answering. How can you book if you're not a Harvest Host member? This
Well-
is really important. So every one of our, well, I guess 19,000 members, almost 20,000 members in our club, has been offered a free, well, it's 9,000, a free Harvest Host membership that just has access to courtesy parking. So if you're not a Harvest Host member now and you don't want to pay for the other layers, just sign up for the free one under our club, and you'll get to see our courtesy parking locations and you'll be able to book it then. But you have to book it through the app, but it's a free service.
Well, yeah, and I was going to go into that a little bit more because
Go
I
ahead.
see the rest of them are about harvest hosting, but just to answer the caravan room, no, there's not going to be a caravan room because we don't manage all the caravans there at the office. Amanda does a fine job taking care of it. So as Eric was saying, so every member of our club gets a free, basically harvest host membership because that's part of our courtesy parking. So that was our arrangement, right? So if you haven't logged in yet, and I see username merge of that, if you can go to our blog, there's a huge blog about Harvest Host, how to use your guest, how to sign in for the first time. But Chris, if you need additional help, you can give the office a call tomorrow and we can give you a link because Harvest Host, for those who have already activated their ACI courtesy parking membership with Harvest Host, they will manually merge those things together for you. So I hope that answers your question, Chris. John, on your about 3 weeks ago, parking you have not shown up in Harvest Host app. My email is correct. Normally it does take them a couple weeks. We would have to double check the timing. So every 2 weeks we do what we call a sync with them with Harvest Host because only Airstream Club members can see, active members can see courtesy parking locations of Airstream Club members through Harvest Host. Boy, that's a lot of words. But so that's our security, right? So just not anybody can see our members' homes or locations. So we are working with them on that.
Oh, and Lori, I just posted up on the chat the blog you mentioned. I think this is the right one. I don't know what I'm showing right now. Am I showing a website right now? I hope I am.
Nope. You're showing the slide deck. And just so you guys know too, we're going to have some
There we go.
additional communications coming out very soon.
So on our blog, as you mentioned, I just put the link up in the chat, is a blog on how to use courtesy parking. And it goes into quite detail on how to activate it, look at the new features, etc. So I put that in the chat. All right, good.
Okay. And thanks, John, for the Christy Yon. Hi. How are you?
Oh, she put it up too.
She
Excellent.
also put it up there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There is a rally room. The club is a caravan club. So again, we don't store stuff for the caravan. If you understood our structure and how we operate, we don't have the material at HQ to run a caravan like we do the rally. So that's why. And oh, it's Sherry. Sherry has Christie's login. So hi, Sherry. All right. Do we have any other? I think we got them all. Did we not?
I think we have most of them, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so since we're on courtesy parking and we're getting close to wrapping up, we have a couple of slides on courtesy park I wanted to share. All right. So we launched in the fall. So we're not doing badly. And so if you go on the courtesy parking app, which is live now and working now, or on the website, you'll see something that looks like this once you get logged in as a club member using your club's email address, which instructions talk about. It's really quite nice. I just did a look right now today. And so right now, as of today, we have 336 of our members across the country that are offering their homes for courtesy parking. So it's really good. And by the way, these people all signed up in the last 6 months. So they intentionally signed up. It wasn't something that they forgot that they had from years ago, which we had that. Interesting enough, 253 of them offer electrical, which is actually kind of nice. You know, if you're traveling across the country in the summer and the winter time, it's just nice to be able to run your AC if you have to. And so I'm really pleased to see that 253 of our members chose to offer electrical to people. I'm not sure if it's 30 amp or 15 amp, but it's probably 30 amp is my guess. Some offer water. A large percentage, half of them just about, offer stay extra nights. So typically it's one night, but as in Lori with her headquarters is saying up to 5 nights, a lot of our members are saying, yeah, you can stay extra nights. The cool thing is that 100 offer same day booking. And that's actually, I was surprised that was so high for private residences. That basically means you're on the road, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm gonna stay tonight. And you can actually, with those people, book for the same day. Quite a few allow generators. Everyone shows online booking calendars. And I was really pleased to see that too, because if you've ever tried to use an application like this, the frustrating part is clicking on someone and you don't know if they even have availability or not. So you can actually filter and say, I'm looking for a spot for a 30 amp air for a 30-foot Airstream on the 23rd of November. And you can say, just show me those, and it'll show you the ones that have availability. Now we have to go through asking people, are you going to be home? Are you going to be around? You know already, because they've said it, that they're going to be around, they're going to be available. It's really, really nice to have. And of course, most of them allow Airstreams up to 30 foot. So most of the properties are fairly large. I highly encourage people to give it a go. It's not just about saving money. I mean, sure, it's a benefit, and you probably save on average $100 a night by staying, or maybe $70 a night, depending where your alternatives are, unless you're boondocking. But it's an opportunity to meet more of your fellow members, and it's almost always just a real fun time. I mean, they offer it because they want to make that place available, so it's a pretty cool deal. Highly recommended. And it'll pay for your annual membership, by the way, if that's something you choose to look at it that way as well. So this is it for our talk. We had another placeholder for talking about upcoming IRs, international rallies. I believe we may have already covered this. Let's go through the rest of the questions, Lori, and see where we are.
Yeah, I was answering some of them. So Drew, I will have one of my team members at the office reach out to you tomorrow in regards to the tire discount program to make sure that you have the right information on how to use that. Yes, the clubhouse will be secure. We haven't established times or anything of that nature, but we do know it will be an electronic, we're pretty sure it'll be electronic lock type system to make sure everybody and everything's secure there. You are in Jackson Center, so not that we have a really high crime rate, but I get it, right? One of the cats or one of the foxes that run across the front lawn may want to get in the clubhouse with us. At the International Rally, can or do the big vendors offer discounts for Airstream members? Absolutely. And that's what all of our member discounts and benefits are. I mean, it's exclusive to people in the club. So depending on who the vendor is, what they offer depends on what type or the size of discount that's available for them. So
Great.
if you want, see here. So I think everybody knows that we'll be in York in 2025, right? Do you want to chat a little bit more about?
Yeah.
So then, actually we're getting ready to do a big notice, but in 2026, it's best I need to get these things up in front of me. In 2026, our plans are to be in Minot, North Dakota. And this is a town I am super excited for us to visit. I have never been to a town so passionate about their town. And they absolutely, when we went and did our feasibility study, which is the first step of selecting a location, they just basically, what I say, rolled out the red carpet for us. So that will be another August rally. So save the date for 2026. That's going to be between August 22nd and August 27th. Again, Minot, North Dakota at the North Dakota State Fairgrounds. And then our 2027 rally will be back in Rock Springs. We have a letter of intent with them, and it looks like that our rally will be there in 2027 at the last week of June, similar to when we were there last time. So super excited about all that stuff coming up. And again, I can't thank our rally planning team, our volunteers, Rich and Cindy that work on our exhibitors. It's just growing and it's growing. And I think our members will really appreciate it in years to come as we build these fantastic relationships.
I'm going to share a map of York just for kicks. So one thing nice about York is that the distances are not large. I apologize, you may not be able to see this well enough, but this is the parking layout for York. And the nice thing is that unlike Rock Springs and unlike Sedalia, things are pretty close to each other. So that's a really nice thing. So the difference, the moving back and forth not be as challenging as it was before. But it's always just a challenge, of course, to fit 1,000, 1,200 rigs into any given spot.
Yeah.
Could I have a final comment?
Yeah.
One thing I'm really excited about, which we just glossed over a tiny bit, is that once the team moves into 707 East Pike Street, which is the building that we're sitting in right now, out of the 803, we use those numbers constantly, so you might get used to them too. When they move out of their old club headquarters and we decide we're going to create 2 new functions out of that building, we're providing something that so few clubs have, a member clubhouse, a place for you to take, it's yours. You'll get to take a shower. You get to do laundry. That member benefit is absolutely gigantic. And once people start realizing, wow, we have our own space, our member clubhouse. And then of course the parking, to be able to take a day, take 2 days, you're on your way across the country. Honey, let's take a break. This is going to be great because you're going to be home. It's not some KOA. It's not, there's nothing wrong with KOAs. There's nothing wrong with state parks, but this is yours. And that's a huge member benefit.
Thanks, Jamie. And I think we'll just end on another thing that we're just starting to plan this. We'll be talking about it at the IBT, but it's not a secret. And so 2031 is the 100th anniversary of Airstream Inc., which is pretty cool. And so a small group of us have been working with some executives and people from Airstream Inc. to figure out what we do in 2031 to celebrate the 100th year of Airstream Inc. And so we've got some draft ideas. It's a long way from now. There's a lot of planning to go, but it's probably going to be some sort of a caravan. Probably from the West Coast, where obviously Airstreams were initially produced in California, maybe up through Oregon, where Wally's was born, and there's a museum up there with some of Helen By Schwamberg stuff there, and then heading across the country and almost certainly ending up in Jackson Center and having a bunch of events along the way. And one of my goals I've shared with the team is that unlike the past caravans of the old days where you sort of had to be at a certain social economic level to be able to take that time off and the money to go on the big ones, we want to make these accessible and available for all of our members. So there will probably be a series of mini rallies or mini events as we go across the country, or whoever goes across the country. But it's actually really exciting, and it's really phenomenal to be working with Airstream Inc. They're really excited about it. They have said many times now that they make great trailers, but we put on good events. The club does, and so we do what we do well, and they do what they do well, and it's a really good partnership. There was a question, I think Lori answered it, about 30, 31 foot.
I was just trying to clarify. Yeah, Kelly was just asking, maybe on courtesy parking, but somewhere it says up to 30 feet, and she said she has a 31 footer.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, that was me. So I apologize. Roberta and I have a 30-foot Airstream, so I'm going to show you actually, since I can do this really quickly. I think.
So I know at HQ you can bring in a 60 footer if you had it, because we got plenty of room. We can make it happen. But I'm not exactly sure what Eric was doing
So let me just share this. And so this is this is the Harvest Host the website version, of course. And so this is what I was showing you before, all the ones across the country. You could actually put a filter on up here, upper left-hand corner. I hope you can see the filters. Can you see the filters that have popped up? Okay, good.
Yeah,
You
I
can say
can.
Airstream Club. You can say up to 30 feet, up to 35 feet. So if it's 35 feet, there's 204 hosts at the bottom here that support 35 feet. If you want to go to 45 feet, then 124. But I'm not sure we have any 45-foot. Well, we may have a few of the Class A's. But yeah, so you can pick that. And the other filters you can pick, as you can see the dates. You can say, I want to be the 26th to the 27th. And then I see there's 200 members that have sites available there. And I want electrical hookups down here. Now that's 157. I want to be able to see extra nights. That's 26. And so show them. Then you say, okay, this is who can do this. And no surprise, it's more in the South that time of year. And you can just click on a person over here and say, okay, here's someone here, 45 foot. And you start to see some attributes about that, right? So you see a sewer dump, see electrical, interesting. And they probably have some more pictures also around there too. So it's a really good way to take a look at, so you can be sure. And I've been in this situation, as many of you probably have, is that you're going to someone's house and like, I don't know if I can get in that driveway. I don't know if I can, park in the place or not. So a lot of times people have more pictures that show more about the attributes. Like this is a ranch over here, some club member, nice ranch. Oh, gorgeous. So anyway, there's a lot of information on there. And if you have a question, you could just email or you can just click on the host and it'll go right to the host. You don't have another email address land to you back. So it's a really good platform for making those decisions about whether you want to stay or not. Okay. Well, we're at 5:01. Laura and I may be around for another 5 minutes or so, answering any residual question and answers. Oh, David asked, why not start or end up in Canada where the WBCCI was started? So we haven't planned the official route yet, David. We're just getting going. We're doing a report to the IBT in December to kind of pick the rough route. I think, though, there's a lot of interest in starting where Airstreams were first manufactured, because that was back 100 years ago, whereas our club only started 70 years ago. So it kind of makes sense to start This is the 100th year anniversary where Airstreams were first started 100 years ago, not where the club was formed 70 years ago. I think though that if we can get up into Canada, that would be amazing. But it's going to get into the details of planning and stuff, and we've got a lot of time to figure that out. All righty, thank you all very much, and have a good rest of the day. And I think we're going to jump off now.
All right.
Good.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
thank you,
Have a great
Jenny.
night.
All right, thanks,
Bye.
Lori. All
Good
right,
night.
bye.